Once again, actor extraordinaire Christian Varley here, talking about entertainment news. And I hope you will like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all having a great year. I know it's been a busy stuff. So it is now a week, almost a week after the Oscars. And what a wild Oscars. You thought you wouldn't say that because most people have not been quite as interested in the Oscars in several years. But it's the slap heard around the world. Everybody knows about it. Even people that had no interest in it at all are obviously talking about Will Smith and my buddy there, Chris Rock, and Jada Pinkett Smith. So basically it was a show stealer. I guess the viewing of the Oscars has gone down over this several years, obviously. But particularly in the last couple of years, obviously, with the COVID thing going on. And last year, I think it was pretty much a virtual. I think they had done it from the LA train station, which was kind of avant-garde, you know, and I thought was kind of cool. I barely even watched it or looked at any of it. I saw a couple of clips. But the movies, honestly, in the last couple of years have not been that interesting. And even the hosts, all due respect to Chris Rock, who I've joked about a lot over the years. And we did our radio program a lot of times with my friend Ralph Romeo. We used to joke and imitate Chris Rock. Chris Rock! So he's always been, I always get a kick out of him. And I had the opportunity, which is great, to work with Chris Rock last year. It's been almost a year. I worked on David O. Russell's film. I was invited to work on that project, and I just had a great time with, and Chris Rock was there. I didn't know all the big cast that was there, and Christian Bale showed up, which is an actor who I love and was just a pleasure to work with, and got to work with Rob O'Margy, Holly Quinn, and it was titled, I think, Canterbury Glass. I have a feeling they'll change the title on that, but it was a fantastic project to work on, and I was able to work in 2 scenes, so I hope I make the cut, and they were fantastic to me. David O. Russell's great. He's an Academy Award-winning director, has done, I think, Joy was one of the latest ones he did a couple of years back. And he did Silver Linings Playbook and American Hustle. A couple of movies that I wasn't even going to look at, and a couple of my family members had said to me to get a load of Christian Bale in it. So I watched him, and I was getting a kick out of it, particularly American Hustle. The opening scene where he's fixing his hair, it was just really funny. So anyway, David O. Russell was an absolute gentleman to me, but I got to work with Chris Rock there as well, and they were speaking in French. And I was playing a French diplomat. It was in a hospital, and I got to do a couple of scenes there with Christian Bale and again with Rob O'Margy. And they were basically feeding them lines because I don't think a lot of them spoke very good French, but they were absolute exceptional actors to work with, and they did great. Rob O'Margy particularly was able to do a lot of the lines in French, and I don't know how fluent her French was, but she did a great job. And they were feeding Chris Rock the lines, and he was so funny. And he was basically yelling out, "Have a drink," or something like that, and then "Le Plume," or whatever he was yelling. But he was very funny. And Christian Bale, we had him laughing. He had me laughing. So hopefully I'll make the cut there. But that should be an Oscar contender for next year. I think a much more interesting film than the group of films they had this year. And the other one I'll be reviewing coming up will be The Batman, which I got to see and was fantastic. And I'm a big fan. I love Batman. I love the Marvel movies and the Marvel comics. I was over as a big comic book collector years ago, particularly with the Batman and the Superman and all those, and the Marvel comics. So I love Batman. I always have. Going back all the way to the Batman television series, which was in syndication when we were little kids, long after I was born, with Adam West, who was always the ultimate Batman, and Bruce Wayne. But I think Christian Bale did a fantastic job. All due respect to the other fellas that had played Batman over the years. I think Michael Keaton did a good job for what he had to do. The original casting of him there was very controversial, but I think he pulled it off. It was the first big cinematic Batman movie, and going toe-to-toe with Jack Nicholson, who is pound for pound, obviously is born to play the Joker, and he did a great job. So that was an older movie, and they did a great job in '89. But again, it fails in comparison to of course, Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan, who I love to work with, and of course the late Heath Ledger, who did a fantastic reimagining of the Joker character, and was fantastic in The Dark Knight. But the Christian Bale versions were great with Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman and the whole group there, Liam Neeson and all, just fantastic group. So again, the Batman movie, which had a lot to live up to, the new one, we'll talk about that next week. And I think that should definitely be an Oscar contender. It was just fantastic. And Robert Pattinson was in it, several other actors. Paul Dano playing the Riddler did a fantastic job, but just a reimagining and fantastic. I also, on that footnote, and I'll talk about the Chris Rock and Will Smith slap heard around the world and a few other things. They, I got to work with about 3 years ago when there was still a couple of good Oscar movies up, and that was on the Joker. And I got to work in the Arkham Asylum scene with none other than Joaquin Phoenix, who just, it was fantastic. I got to work in New York City with him, and he was great. I knew he was doing a good job when he got cast as the Joker, and he did a fantastic job. And I got to work with him, and I made the cut. The great Todd Phillips directed. I shook hands with him. He was great. And I had 10 or 15 seconds of fame. I made the trailer and was in the actual movie. 10 or 15 seconds, but I enjoyed it. I was playing a doctor intern, so I'm in the Arkham scene. So you never know. Maybe if they do a Joker 2 movie, maybe I'll actually be able to play one of those villain characters or something in there. Hopefully, maybe Todd Phillips. I hope you're listening, and it was just a pleasure to work with you and Joaquin Phoenix. And on that footnote, Joaquin Phoenix won the Oscar for Best Actor, which he very much deserved, I believed. And I felt like I was a part of that, and I hope I contributed to that in some way. But getting to the Oscars, so that was about 3 years ago, 2019, and there was a couple of good movies that year, including The Joker. Now, the last couple of years, again, they go through a lot of dry periods, and the Oscars are really boring and just, for lack of a better term, pretentious. And this is coming from an actor here. Forgive me if I come off a little pretentious, and sometimes, forgive me, I'm not aware that I do it, but I'm just very happy that I get the opportunity to work as an actor, even though maybe a little less known, working my way up, and hopefully, by the grace of God, I can work my way up to some bigger roles. But I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of people, including Chris Rock. And I got to work with Jada Pinkett Smith on the show Hawthorne a few years ago, and she was just really sweet. I was talking to her, and I think it was a bodyguard of hers. I didn't realize. They kept saying Jada, 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 and it was some bodyguard, and his suit looked pretty big, and I'm pretty sure it was Jada Pinkett Smith because I was talking to her and another girl, two of the leads, and really nice. And this guy looked at me like, why are you talking to her? It was very nice. And it turned out afterwards, I said, oh, it's Jada, after I found out afterwards that it was Jada Pinkett Smith. So she was very sweet. I don't know if I got the opportunity to work with Will Smith, but I like a lot of his work, and he's, a consummate actor. I don't know about the whole, I didn't get a chance to see most of these movies this year, so they nominated him. I'm happy to hear that. I don't know about the win on that one, but him and Cumberbatch, who's a fantastic actor, were up. But most of the movies, I got to be honest with you, were not really my cup of tea. And the whole Oscar thing, I know the ratings were, once again, very low. And I didn't even get a chance to watch it this year, let alone attend it. But all of a sudden, I realized it was Oscar night, and I just happened to turn on my phone, looked over on, YouTube, whatever I was looking on, and I think a thing from Twitter came up, and it must have just happened. And then I saw the clip where Will Smith, Chris Rock was joking, he says something about Jada Pinkett Smith, and they mentioned G.I. Jane 2, and I think now as the story goes, he was unaware, of course, that she had a skin or a neurological condition or something that was causing her some level of hair loss or whatever it was. And that being said, they basically cracked the joke, and then they were laughing, and the next thing Will Smith came up on the stage, and it looked very real. Now, it could have been staged, and if it was staged, God bless them, it was brilliant. I got a kick out of it, and some people were supposedly horrified by it, and obviously their reasoning behind that is that would a star be able to get away with this, whatever. I found it to be more amusing than anything, and when I first looked at it, it did look like he went to go give him a real hit, but as reviewing it and looking back on it and realizing the nature of it, it looked more like a sort of a tap, quick slap, whether he actually did it or not, or whether it was staged. Sort of like the Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Pop, the world may never know. But either way, they got the press coverage that people got interested after the fact, people who would never even be interested in the Oscars or were not going to watch it, Oscars 2022, whatever it was. So they were interested in it. And again, all feelings aside, if it was all real, he did obviously stick up for his wife, but you can't obviously hurt somebody or offend them or assault them in any way. But if it was real, I hope Chris Rock's okay, and I think he took it like an absolute gentleman. But I do kind of feel it was staged. But that's just an opinion. But maybe it wasn't, and maybe it was exactly real. But either way, it seemed like everybody was okay. And it seemed like the biggest feelings that got hurt by the whole thing were the presenters. I don't know who they were. Amy Schumer or something. So it seemed like the spotlight was, most people weren't even watching the Oscars. It was taken off them completely and taken off the movies. Boo-hoo-hoo, boo-hoo-hoo. Well, maybe put up some better movies and get Billy Crystal back to host the Oscars. Now, Chris Rock, all due respect, he's done an okay job over the years. So, but they've had some greats. But I miss seeing, Robin Williams, who sadly passed away, a real icon, 2014, and who's my favorite one that I'm going to forget her name. Melissa and her, Joan Rivers, my buddy Joan Rivers, who also passed away around the same time. She was always great, just to watch the red carpet, and she was always funny. And she was no hold bars. So when it comes to comedians, they're able to say whatever they want. I watched, they're very self-prefacating, or whatever the word is, and will put themselves down. We all do that. So I don't take it so seriously. And then I think I saw Jim Carrey afterwards, who I am a fan of, and I like a lot of his work, and he's kind of fallen out of fame now. He was saying, he was so offended by all this, and that they should sue and all this other nonsense. I just think it's ridiculous, I really do. That all of a sudden they're coming into the land, they're so offended by all this. Well, they're pretty pretentious there anyway. So, again, this was pretty much history in the making, watching this. And either way, it was pretty entertaining. And we have boxing matches. We have WMA. And these guys, they're all these people are watching this UFC or whatever it is. I was just watching some clip. I won't name the fighter, but let's say his name was Don, a very famous fighter from years ago. I couldn't believe the fights this guy was in on one of the UFC. His first name was Don, and he was very famous with a mustache. But he just amazing, the fighting this guy was doing in the early stages of was it WMA or UFC or whatever it was, before they became even more famous with the locks, and the guy took on everybody, and he pretty much won. So we see that in entertainment. It's almost like the Roman Coliseum, but even in American television, they're very violent, even football and everything. So again, this looked like two actors who probably are friends in real life. I don't know. But obviously, whether it was a spur of the moment or really did happen or whether it was staged, we'll just say, for lack of a better term, that it was very real. And either way, I do like Jada Pinkett Smith, and she doesn't deserve to be offended in any way. But again, it is a comedian saying some things that maybe went a little too far. But when you look at people like Rodney Dangerfield or Jackie Mason, all those people, or Don Rickles, they used to do it all the time. So I don't think Chris Rock certainly deserved that. And again, they are actors, so we'll see how that whole, over time, looking into it, whether it actually was maybe grossly exaggerated, looked at, and was it really, was it more of a stage slap? I don't know. And again, the world will never know. But it was certainly entertaining and made the Oscars this year, for the first time, viewable again, where people wanted to see what just happened. And I think that's part of our American culture and the world. We like shock value. So again, this is my first YouTube channel where I'm actually getting into a little bit of entertainment news. Again, Christian Barley. So please like and subscribe to my channel, and I will put up a lot more viewing to come up in a couple of episodes coming up. I try to do something maybe every week or every couple of weeks. I've been pretty busy, and I hope everybody, again, is doing great out there. I know it's been a busy couple of years, and I hope everybody's doing well. And again, back to entertainment news. And the big story, too, besides that, on a much more heartfelt note, is Bruce Willis, another actor who I've grown to love over the years. I've always liked Bruce Willis. Obviously, Die Hard himself. He is retiring from acting. And for lack of a better term, the term seems to be similar to, I could look it on my phone, but I want to think, is it aplasia or something like that? And it seems to be a term that affects the brain or something, that affects his speech or something. So it seems sort of in the category, sort of like an MS type of thing. I'm not a doctor or scientist, but it was a similar name almost to the one that Jada Pinkett Smith. Completely different things, I think, but I guess they affect the nerves either way. So we hope the best for both of them in terms of Bruce Willis and obviously Jada Pinkett Smith, hopefully, if it affects the neurological hair, that will all work out. But in terms of Bruce Willis retiring, and I've always loved a lot of Bruce Willis's work. He's been the brunt of a lot of funny jokes too. I think he's always been joked about himself a lot too. But just the first two Die Hard movies are fantastic, and the Fifth Element and some other stuff. So we wish him the best. We'll talk about that more next time, because ironically I have a battery on here is going a little bit low, and again the Fifth Element and the first two Die Hard. Sorry, I'm stumbling in here a little bit. The first two Die Hard movies are fantastic, and I was another one recently, Replicants, a couple of years ago, which another famous English actress he was with, and I kind of like that too. And they're imperfect bodies as younger forms of themselves, and at the end they just let themselves get older and really show that they actually love each other, which I thought was very well done. But The Fifth Element is just a classic movie. Pulp Fiction, it was another reason why I went to watch it originally. I didn't know anything about Tarantino. He wasn't known at that time, very well known, except for Reservoir Dogs and John Travolta, but it revived John Travolta's career. But I really went to see it because of crazy movie, but I went to see it because of Bruce Willis, who was very popular at the time. And again, he's just had done some great work, so hopefully he'll be able to come back. I got to work with him on Perfect Strangers several years back. I never even watched the movie. He was a great guy. Him and Holly Berry. I worked in New York City in a restaurant with them. I don't even know if I got seen in it, but it was nice to work with him. He seemed like a great guy. And that's it. So we wish him the best. Looks my battery, I didn't have anything plugged in, so it's going to go, and that's it. So this is my first little viewing of some entertainment news. Again, I've been up on the radio a lot. I've been doing a lot of acting work, and we talk about a lot of this stuff, the Oscars and stuff. Ralph Romeo's program, mine, and again, so it's Christian Varley. Please like and subscribe, and just talking a little bit about, it's pretty much what everybody's been saying about the whole Will Smith and again, Chris Rock thing in the Oscars. And again, my buddy Bruce Willis. So, and hopefully we'll talk next year. Hopefully we'll have a much better actual Oscars with David O. Russell's movie, I hope, is up there. Canterbury Glass with Christian Bale and Rob O'Margey and Chris Rock. And Denzel Washington's son is in it. Great group of people to work with. So I hope that makes the Oscars next year, shall I say, which would be 2023. I don't know if that's for 2022 or not. And the Batman movie, which I will talk about next time on my vlog. Or do we even use that word vlog anyway? Did I say the word vlog? I love my artwork. I hope you love the artwork behind me, courtesy of my little guy there. Did this for me, and my director. He's no little guy. This guy is a director. So I hope you enjoy everything, and thanks again for taking the time. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. In entertainment news, Christian Varley. Get back to you next time. God bless. Thanks.